And right now at 5 o'clock, the countdown to the inauguration amid unprecedented security. More National Guard troops arriving just today. A live look at the Capitol where Joe Biden and Kamala Harris will be sworn into office in just 2 days. Earlier today, a security scare at the Capitol.
I repeat, due to an external security threat, no entry or exit is permitted at this time in any buildings of the Capitol complex.
So that alert went out around 10 o'clock this morning. A nearby fire forced a lockdown before it was found to not be a threat. But tensions are still high, and so is security after the Capitol riot. And Jonathan, you and I were down there covering President Trump's inauguration 4 years ago. I can't imagine how different the scene is today.
You know, and let me paint that picture for you, because 4 years ago when you and I were together doing that inauguration, you had grandstands that were set all along Pennsylvania Avenue. People were free to come and go and grab a seat to watch the parade that would go by. No grandstands have been set up this time around. There will be a modified parade is the indication we're getting right now. But again, all things can be changing in a moment's notice. But Pennsylvania is completely blocked off. And there are a number of checkpoints and fences set up all along the way from here to the Capitol, which is about 12 blocks away, just up Pennsylvania Avenue. Much different scene than what we saw 4 years ago, Allison, no question about that. And, you know, most of the D.C. area, when you talk about it, is sealed off ahead of this inauguration. Now, 7 is on your side right now with team coverage over the next hour and a half to give you an idea of the layers and level of security. Let's start it off with our ABC 7's Tom Rousey. Tom?
Hey, Jonathan, you talk about those checkpoints, you talk about that security. Let me give you a little tour here. This is at 14th and I is where I'm standing. Up at K Street, you see a roadblock up there. Well, then we walk this way. You see fencing and another roadblock in this area. You can walk through, you can bike through like this gentleman, but you cannot drive through because we're in the red zone. You see another checkpoint over there. And then if you look down that way at the end of the street, you got dump trucks blocking any traffic from getting in here. So that's the situation down here. And this high-level alert led to what we were talking about a moment ago that Allison mentioned at the U.S. Capitol. Check out this video. There was a fire under the 695 freeway this morning. Now, this fire was almost a mile from the Capitol. However, because it was near the Capitol and because neighbors heard a number of what they described as booms or pops, it set off an alert. They actually temporarily shut down the Capitol complex, told everybody to stay in place. It turned out, according to DC Fire, there's a homeless community that lives under the freeway in that area, which is near the 100 block of H Street Southeast. And apparently a woman told them she had been staying in a tent. She was using a propane tank, and that's apparently what started the fire. No one was seriously hurt. Now, there's a high level of security alert that we've been talking about, but check out this other video because there is also an inauguration going on in 2 days. And this was one of the first signs we've seen down here that, yes, there will at least be something semi-normal about the inauguration. This was a rehearsal. We've seen them going all day, different military bands getting ready. Now, the parade itself is going to be virtual this year, but there will still be a military escort for President Biden as of Wednesday and Vice President Kamala Harris. They're going to be taken from 15th Street over to the White House at 16th Street. So that military escort will still go on, and we saw them rehearsing for that today. Reporting live in downtown Washington, I'm Tom Rousey, ABC 7 News.
All right, Tom, thanks so much. And again, as far as a parade or as far as the president, vice president making their way down Pennsylvania Avenue, everything is subject to change depending on the security. And the tensions are very high here. Everybody just doesn't know. They're on pins and needles, and hopefully nothing will happen when you consider the level of force that is out here as a deterrence. And let me give you an idea of the numbers. 25,000 members of the National Guard will be on station here in D.C. by the time of the inauguration. In fact, Skytrack 7 shot this video of troops getting off of their plane at Joint Base Andrews just this afternoon. States all across the country now sending in troops to help secure the Capitol and surrounding areas. And while we're talking about that, take a look at this. This was video from Skytrack 7 over FedEx Field. More National Guard troops. These groups were doing some drill training while they were out there. And tomorrow, security is going to get even tighter. Starting at 6 o'clock in the morning, 4 bridges connecting Virginia to D.C. will be closed down. Take a look at the map on your screen right now. That gives you an idea of what we're talking about. We're talking about the Memorial Bridge, Roosevelt Bridge, both I-395 bridges, and the HOV toll and main lanes. They're all going to be closed. They're expected to reopen Thursday morning at 6. There's also going to be checkpoints at some of the city entry points. It's almost a complete shutdown when you look at it this way. This is also adding to the roads that are already closed around the district. In fact, the Secret Service releasing this map showing the closures, and there's a lot. Nearly every road restriction is going to last until Thursday morning. If you want to get a complete listing of everything that's shut down, go to our website. We put it there for you. It's WJLA.com. But the bottom line is really at this point, Allison, I think it's safe to say, if you have no business in D.C., it's probably a good idea to just avoid it at this time. And tonight, 7 is on your side, guiding you through all of this ahead of Wednesday's inauguration. In fact, I'm in place along Pennsylvania Avenue, just a few blocks from the Capitol right now, where it feels literally like if you want to cross the street, you have to go through security checkpoints just to get there. Let's start it off with ABC 7's Tom Rousey to talk about the level of and layer of securities all around D.C.
Jonathan, as you're saying, it's so tough to get around. For one thing, you got McPherson Square here and 12 other metro stations shut down. And then everywhere you look, as you mentioned, there's security checkpoints. But as bizarre as this may sound, check out this video. I think some locals are actually enjoying the red zone in areas they can at least get to because cars can't drive there. So we've seen a lot of folks out walking dogs, riding bikes, jogging around because they don't have to worry about getting hit by a car. And how often are you going to get the chance to do that on a huge section of downtown Washington? There are some areas you can't get to, however, and a lot of residents coming down say they are just stunned by the level of security, and they say it kind of gives them mixed feelings.
But yeah, it still is just absolutely insane to see this setup. It is a bit unsettling, but at the same time, there is that sense of security that we do have this to protect the locals here.
It's a sense of security, but I think like a lot of the rest of the country, even though I'm here, it's a sense of fear too, you know? We want to make sure that we make it out of it. When I say we, I mean everybody. I hope we can make it through this.
Because of the high level of alert, the Capitol was actually temporarily shut down. The complex, everybody was told to stay in place this morning after this fire that happened under the 695 freeway near H Street Southeast. Now, according to DC Fire, the ultimate cause of this was there's a homeless community under the freeway there, and a woman told them she was using propane. Neighbors described hearing some pops and booms, so that raised the alert of a lot of people, but in the end, nobody was seriously hurt, and things returned to normal at the Capitol. And as you can see behind me, the high level of security continues here in downtown Washington. Reporting live, I'm Tom Rousey, ABC 7 News.
Tom, thanks very much for that. It is clear from the images that we are showing you with all of the security. Look at the cars parked in the middle of the street right there. All of those are belonging to law enforcement or even military vehicles. It's a good idea if you don't have to come down to D.C. Best advice is don't. Stay away from the area. This is what 16th Street looks like right now near the White House. It is basically a parking lot for the emergency responders and even the National Guard. Now, 7 is on your side with a reminder of the two massive security zones here. It's on your screen right there. You can see the red zone only allows authorized vehicles with a special placard. The green zone allows vehicles only for residents, businesses, and the National Guard. Most of the businesses around here are boarded up and shut down. Tonight, we are learning more about that National Guard presence. 25,000 guardsmen arriving from virtually every state in the country. As 7 on your side reported last week, each one is being vetted. Now we're learning the FBI is doing some background checks in the wake of current and former law enforcement and military being arrested in connection with the insurrection. To prevent further violence, Skytrack 7 actually captured the moment that crowd-controlled drills were being conducted at a staging site at FedEx Field. Now, tonight, D.C.'s role in securing the inauguration may be its biggest ever. All new at 11 o'clock, ABC 7's Annalisa Gale spoke with this Director of Homeland Security here in D.C. with a look at the many mobile command centers that are now dotting the landscape.
While the nation paused to honor Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day, city leaders continued to serve around the clock.
We have several dozen people here at the Emergency Operations Center.
Former senior analyst for the CIA and now DC's Homeland Security advisor, Dr. Christopher Rodriguez, says the riot on January 6 led to swift and necessary changes.
This was perhaps the greatest domestic terrorist attack on the United States since 9/11.
Rodriguez, who once monitored terrorist groups in the Middle East and South Asia, now finds himself monitoring right-wing extremist groups here in the district ahead of the 59th presidential inauguration.
We've seen some limited activity.
On Inauguration Day, 5 officials will be inside this command center monitoring cameras throughout the city.
And so what our residents should expect is that if the situation on the ground dictates, that we may see additional road closures and we may see additional impacts to our daily lives.
His agency is partnering with the FBI, Secret Service, emergency management across the country, and more.
The threat is real. We saw what it did to manifest itself on January 6th.
Originally, the district requested $34.9 million for inauguration preparations, but following recent events, they increased that amount to $44.9 million.
And it is the capital of our nation. And so ensuring a peaceful transition of power is what we're all here to do.
In the district, Annalisa Gale, ABC 7 News.
And take a look at your screen. I want to show you something. This map right here, everything you see in the red lines, that's where I am. Well, there's absolutely no civilian vehicles allowed in there. Now, inside the green area is just for residents, business owners, and their employees or the National Guard. Now, the checkpoints are serious, and again, almost all of the bridges connecting Virginia and D.C., as well as Anacostia and downtown, they're shut down to inbound traffic, and that's going to happen first thing in the morning. So before you head out, 7 on your side, Stacey Rush is going to help you navigate the DMV. That'll start Good Morning Washington at 5 o'clock in the morning.